just a very simple consent form that understand the project. I'm going to tell you about it. And it's just for your understanding of the project. If you're comfortable, you can sign that later.
Yeah.
There's really no risk. The purpose of this interview is really to get your opinions and recommendations. When we produce our report, we're not putting names of people in the report, we're putting in major findings and recommendations. Vina Capital contacted us about a month and a half ago for RMIT to conduct the project. So Vina Capital is biased. They have biases. They wanted an independent organization to do the project. So they turned to us to do the project, and we were happy to do it.
Yeah.
The purpose of this project really is to identify the facilitators and the barriers in the SOE privatization process. Ultimately, the most important thing, as Dr. Chung said, is at the end of May, we're going to be delivering a presentation to the Prime Minister. And those recommendations are critically important because at the end of this project, what we want to come up with is a set of recommendations on how to improve the SOE equitization process. So your comments and all the other comments we're getting from other market participants are very important for us, so we really appreciate that. Okay. So we have a number of different parts of the project. We're going to be interviewing institutional investors, lawyers, brokerage firms, SOEs, to get a big picture of the process, and also government personnel in Hanoi. So your opinions are important, your honesty is important, so feel free to offer up whatever positive or negative opinions that you have.
Yeah.
And also to add to
please,
all of the your recommendation and everything will not have your name or your company in this, just to make sure that this is very independent and anonymous.
Yeah.
So we say that okay, that's our interview is what they say, and from fund, because we have separate funds here, they never know. So feel free to provide candid, feedback and suggestion, because that will have. We really do is the high impact, high profile research rather than just do the research and talk and come nowhere.
Yeah, we want to make some real changes.
Yeah.
We're really interested in the changes.
Yeah.
So a little bit, we have your business card. We know who you are, title. Yeah, very important. Deputy CEO. Tell us a little bit about your role here in the company and how it relates to the SOE privatization process.
Yeah. I'm in charge of investment and research of the company, and I oversee the staff in the portfolio management, research team, and execution. Yeah, and I also in charge of portfolio manager of one fund, the flagship fund, the balance fund. Yeah, I'm in here with from the beginning of the company. Yeah, and I actually our fund invest in SOE during their privatization. Yeah, since the year 2003
So it's
up to
been
now.
many experiences in the SOE privatization.
We as a participant.
Yeah. Can you share with us a little bit more recently, in the past year or two, which SOEs you've been involved in the privatization process?
We involved in buying, not in consulting or anything.
Right, no, I understand. It's just the buying.
Vinamilk, An Oil, Bình Minh Plastic, C33, 32, recently, and Sabico.
Sabico, yeah.
PVD, and recently, and after a period, the SOE they stopped doing that. Up to now, we participate in Sanex Khánh Hòa, BSR Bình Sơn Refinery, PV Power, PV Oil, Becamex, EDCO.
Wow, many.
Yeah, most of the companies that with our investment criteria, we participate in.
Great, good. So very good experience. Great.
So more about the investor rather than the sell-side advisor.
Yeah, investor purely.
Investment, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. So I know between me and Dr. Chung, we're both going to be asking you some questions, but I'll start with really a set of questions that has to do with factors you believe promote or help the SOE privatization process?
Yeah.
Just open question. What factors do you think streamline the process, help the process?
Yeah. We see that for the SOE privatization, it takes very long, a long time. The process is complicated and a lot of people involved in the decision making, but I think that no one is the main decision maker at all. So, for example, for a lot of companies, we follow a long time, but no result at all. For example, Satra or mobile phone, we talk about it years after years, but nothing happened. And we asked why the reason why, and we know that they, for example, the valuation lands you right. No, which land will belong to the authority, which land belong to the company, etc. So I think that the main point that make the process long is the decision making.
The decision making.
Decision making.
I want to understand that a little bit more. And where are the problems in the decision making? So, and it's okay to go between negative and positive, because it doesn't matter. You can talk about some of the things that work well, some of the things that are not working well. So you talk about communication, and you can talk positive and negative, and you guys can write notes.
Sure.
Yeah. But for decision making, we see that a lot of ministers and authorities involved during the process of privatization, including valuation, including what percentage the government will receive, we hold, and how many percentage go outside. It's changed over time. Every time we update with the consultant advisor of the company, the thing changed, and they blur. They don't know how is the structure. Is it? Yeah.
Is it the government decision making communication, or is it the company decision making that's problematic?
The government, I think.
The government.
The government, I think.
Providing the right information at the right time.
Yeah. And this minute, for example, the MOIT, they had wait for the decision make the opinion from the legal or from the Minister of Finance. It to me it's very complicated, because I don't know which. Maybe during your interviewing with the authority you will know more about that. But to me it's so complicated, and I see that they have to wait the opinion from many authorities.
You call that a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah, bureaucracy.
And no point person.
Yeah, no point person.
Point.
Very good point. Good point.
Let me just
please come in. Yeah, anytime you want.
Elaborate on this one. Like she mentioned, the mobile phone, and mobile phone it belong to MOIT, but MOIT actually is, if they want to do something, they have to ask for the Ministry of Finance, and also it's a big company. Therefore, sometimes they need permission from Politburo and some sort of thing like that.
Different parts.
Yeah, different parts, and very complicated. That's why it takes so long. But also Satra, Saigon Trade, some big group here. The one who owe, I think, the batteries one as well. Hanh.
Oh, I think. No,
who Satra part of he joined stock of joint venture with Heineken beer. Satra is that the one?
No, not yet. That's still the state-owned company that I think that owner is the authority of Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah, but they have a joint venture with Heineken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have the big one. Yeah, we have a student who work for that, and they tell us about that. Yeah. But Satra haven't gone through this. They mentioned a lot, we haven't been. But this one, the big one in here in Saigon.
Yeah. I thought I read something about the Vietnamese government trying to organize a central committee or part of the government to focus on SOE. I don't know if they're doing that. Is that something that you would recommend?
Yeah.
To really concentrate decision making in a particular area of the government, so you know who to go to, who to talk to. I don't know if that's happening. Understand?
So your question is?
I read something that the Vietnamese government was trying to set up a separate decision making committee on SOE. I don't think they've done it yet. But to your point, you're saying some of the problem is too much bureaucracy. You don't know where to go to get the questions answered. In your opinion, do you think it would benefit the government to set up a very separate decision-making point?
I think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
They propose already. They call subtract committee.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
There's some committee
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. So maybe that in the past they have a lot of problem, a lot of complaints like you, a lot of suggestion like you. Therefore now they will have that in one place. So when kind of one stop shop where you come and then resolve.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. If they have that department, make sure that they have the responsibility and every work. I mean, rightly so that
Yeah.
they can handle that job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those questions are there. Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Exactly. Right.
um,
yeah.
You will go with question.
Yeah,
or
no, you can
Just
No,
come,
no,
just
you
come
can-
naturally.
you can
Don't
talk,
worry. Yeah.
Okay. I think that the first thing is that. The second thing is I think the goal of the government in the privatization. I think that they not very clear about it because we know that ultimately they want to privatize the economy and promote the economy to the private sector.
Right.
Yeah, but I think that although it's the ultimate goal, but they bother many other goals during the process of privatization, including the valuation. They concern very much about valuation, but in the meantime, they let the people. I don't know whether they're capable to do that, and as a result, the valuation maybe go some too high or too low, and it don't meet the market. So you see that Vietnam Rubber company, or you see the Beckham.
Yeah.
Many companies that fail during the auction.
Value too high, maybe. Or
Value too high.
value too high.
Yeah.
Do you? So let me. You can talk, but I want to ask you a question about the government for a moment here. You mentioned. Well, let me ask it this way: do you think the government needs some advising or an advisor on the sell side to advise the government on how to value better the valuation process? Are they missing something here?
I think definitely that they have to do that.
Okay.
They have to open. You know that I see that during the valuation they have to hire the company some company called công ty định giá nhà nước. That is stay on in charge of valuation. And I think that we should go global. You should go international if you want to sell it at very good price.
Yeah.
And even though recently in the meeting of beginning of the year, Mr. Vương Đình Huệ also said that the company had to go to had to sell their share to strategic partner, for example, Vincent or PPR, PP Power.
Yeah.
They have to do by themselves. No room for the expense to hire the advisor. Or they kept the expense ratio at 0.75% on the profit.
You mean the fee?
The fee. It's very low to hire any.
0.075.
No, 0.75.
0.75. 0.75% of what? Of
the process. Tức là phí định giá là phí tư vấn chỉ là cap ở zero.
Của cái gì?
Của giá trị.
Của giá trị mà bán. Hay là
On the process.
Yeah.
That figure I heard about it from the company and advisor.
Too low.
And the management have to handle by themselves because no one can willing to do at that low fee.
Yeah.
And the government allow them to do it in 3 months to sell to strategic partner. I don't know how can the management can do that. They impose impossible constraint to management and ask them to do, and no penalty at all if they cannot achieve. I think that we can see that the process will be lengthened and lengthened because they give unrealistic.
Yeah, so just to elaborate a little bit more on that, no penalty, which means that if they try to do everything they can, and if it's too high or too low, and then nobody buys, undersubscribed, for example, and then if they can't buy, let's say, for example, the case of Vietnam rubber group, Max, considered as the failed case, right? So if that's the case, the CEO of the companies have no penalty, right?
Yeah.
Because we just have a interview with the other fund, and he said that if most of the people, even they don't want, so they put the price up there, so nobody buy it, they still in power.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, it's true. It's that's true with big investors. Because big investors.
Really, they don't want to go public.
Yeah. They don't want to go.
Isn't the government pushing too much on SOEs to go to privatize? It's not coming from the bottom up.
Yeah.
A little bit too much.
I think that the government will the government goal is go get the company into public.
Yes.
And they had to in place the legal framework, the structure and the responsibility rightly to ensure the company had to follow. In Vietnam we say that phép vô thua lại làm. It means that the level, high level, give the policy, but the company can.
They have a lot of tactics to avoid that. They say that we follow this tradition and locally and things like that. So it's very interesting to see like Baker Max, because people say that sometimes they put, but most of the time they overvalue rather than undervalue of their share. So when they put too high and then nobody want to buy it, and then undersubscribe and then nobody take account of that. Accountability is not there. So maybe the point here, accountability for the failure, but also we have to emphasize the fact that the low fee nobody wants. You don't get the professional, you don't have the good sell side advisor. How could you get the good investor? That's right.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks.
We're going to talk a little bit now about the valuation process. There's the different methods of valuing the company, right? There's or the price they're going to sell. You've got the book building process. You have auction process. Auction tends to be the way that the price is determined. What's your opinions on that process in terms of auction versus book build, and how it's working here in Vietnam?
Yeah. We see that the auction there's many constraints on with auction.
For example.
In what way?
Yeah, the company, for example, for an investor, they have to register here to have deposit. And long process of register. And I think that the main point here is that the deposit. Why book bill have no need to do
the deposit.
Deposit.
So it's like 10% deposit. Is that what it is?
10%.
10% deposit.
10% deposit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think there should be a different method that's going to be better, and maybe book bills more here for investors?
I think that book bill is the way that people selling that asset should be going to best practice, and book build is one of the I think that help to facilitate investor to go to the deal.
But so far it seems that all of the SOE they go with the auction rather than book build, right?
Yeah.
But for the private, we haven't asked about the question. If you can share with us the percentage in your portfolio, because you say that you have been invested a lot of SOE, but in terms of percentage, the portfolio to go for private and to go for public, So would you say that 50% for this or 30% for this?
For
Just
your
estimate.
portfolio.
Your
Our
portfolio.
portfolio, go
Investing.
go private. what's
Yeah, I mean
more-
you buy share, right, from private and
private,
public. So
private
what is the
company.
percentage of that?
Um,
Just estimate number, no?
the most of our portfolio, I think that if they buy through deal, block deal or private deal, I think that 60% or 70% are private
Okay.
and 30%.
So you know, so why we ask that, because we ask you to compare, right? So we have some disadvantage of the state-owned enterprise. They go with auction only, but private at first we know that it go with book build.
Yeah.
It's
Book build.
book build is one of the very popular way.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, or can you recommend that the SOE should go for book build because they have a lot more advantage and like the
Yeah,
price.
yeah. It's one of my recommendations. I intend to say
Excellent.
that. Yeah, apply the book build. Yeah. To get
Can you be more? Why is it more advantage with the book build?
Book build, because for the auction with auction process, the register made a lot of noisy and complicated to foreign investor.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard a lot complaint during that, and I see that many investors through our partner DC they had to stop at the end because nearly at the end of the day because they cannot come up with the process. It's a very short time that they had to do a lot of things. Second thing is that the deposit. Yeah, they had to change the money into local money. After that, if they fail, a lot of risk and charge involved. For institutional investor like us, I think that book build is more convenient for us during even we are local investor, much more convenient. We don't have to ask for permission to transfer the money. A lot of permission to internal permission we have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds more convenient and more control for you too in
Yeah.
setting price, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
But
good.
probably they have a
The
good
control
reason for
price.
that.
Yeah.
Let's say in terms of the government side, there maybe some risk would go with the book build. So we will figure out when you interview with the others or government official on that. There should be a reason. Maybe they just want to be easy from their side to work with auction.
Yeah.
But maybe some of the risk, like if you allow too many international investor, easy come, easy go, and then they can do some good thing, put value high, and then they withdraw easily and come easily without. So we talk about that later, but there should be something
I
like
think
that.
so, yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about the foreign investors. In markets outside of Vietnam, during the state-owned enterprise privatization, there's an interest in attracting foreign investment. In Vietnam, I'm just wondering your opinion on how much of an interest do you think the government should have in attracting foreign investment into SOE privatization? Important? Not important?
I think
But just comment on that. Are they making it difficult for foreign investment?
I think that sorry for the question you asked that the government had to put the important role in attracting foreign investment.
Yeah, and what can they do better to attract foreign investment for SOE privatization to improve?
I think that a lot of things. First of all, important. A lot of things.
It is important.
Yeah. First of all, they had to facilitate the process of for investors to participate in buying the stock. Secondly, they had to PR more about Vietnam.
Do more marketing activities.
Marketing about that.
Present to the foreign investor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can they do specifically to make the process easier for foreign investors, whether it's regulations or procedures? Anything that you have recommendations on?
For the
Foreign investors.
I think that two things that the process we have talked about, mentioned recently, legal is mean that the foreign ownership limitation, ownership limitation. I think that for some they have legal framework for the put up to 100% already. However, the process of applying is still also troublesome to some company, and I think if they have to do it straightforward, it's way better.
So application process is too complicated? Too much paperwork, too much restrictions?
Yeah.
Okay, is that right?
And to foreign investor, that the FOL and the process and I think that is the two main point. Beside that, the foreign the forest when they make the money, I think that it improve the forest and the capital flow when they get the money back.
Yeah.
In much improved compared to 3 years ago. So I think that's actually is not very no need to emphasize much.
Okay.
And the documentation should be in English or the
Okay.
rest of it easy to access.
Of course, that makes sense. Right.
Few more things, like for example is the land ownership or property ownership. Let's for example the case of VRG, Vietnam Rubber Group, that's considered the failed case, not successful case. And as far as we know, that's they limit the investor have to be selective for that one. You have to meet a lot of criteria, and also when you meet that one, you have only a few choices in terms of strategic investor. But then the foreign investor come and say that they go and they don't have the property right on land, which is they have a lot. The VRG. So that's also the problem for that. So the government also have to do something here to assure the student you buy here to be safe, right? So do you agree with that argument? Or you have anything that explain for the fair Baker-Mac, you already mentioned one, and the VRG.
Things that make the fair.
VRG, the first thing that foreign investors they cannot participate in the.
The due size is very low, right? The regulation is no.
The regulation is no participant of foreign investors.
So it's just for domestic.
Actually, I don't involve into that option because we don't like that company because the bad governance. Yeah, and ESG issue because our fund have to comply with ESG.
What do ESG?
Yeah, so
what does mean ESG?
Environment, social governance.
Okay.
It means that for the company that who cut down the tree, the forest, we cannot.
Okay.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's good. Good to know that.
Yeah. But I remember that I read the article about the company that the company not allowed for foreign investors to participate.
We double check that one. Yeah.
So that's one of the problems.
Yeah.
Failure.
Because local investor cannot absorb the share they
Very
sell
interesting.
out.
Right. So, are there any other things or any other factors you see that has led to failures in the SOE?
VRG.
Failure.
Of VRG or in
or any in general.
The valuation we mentioned.
Valuation process.
Process, legal framework, expense constraint. The management, the management don't want to public company.
No motivation to go public. The company itself, the management.
So they don't have motivation.
They don't have motivation for main reason. For example, they have to restructure the company. Most of the sale company they overstaff. overtime.
Okay.
Okay.
And the efficient ratio of the company is not high, and they had to report why not efficiency for the using the capital. It's mean that efficiency ratio of the company is below, very low, and they had to improve.
Good.
Was they had to report to outsider, including investor.
An independent auditor.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
They
right.
had to report it frequently. And they may lose their position in the company.
And management
Power,
control.
Yeah, management
Yes.
control.
Excellent points. Excellent points. Is
Okay.
there anything you think that the government can do to help motivate SOEs to privatize? Incentivize, motivate?
I think that issue is quite so difficult to solve because
It is.
it's case by case, and with the intention to centralize the company to oversee all the sale company. I think that we get the KPI to the company, and that company will have KPI to the sale company. That is better if they have KPI for each company. It means that
Good
apply
point.
the key performance indicator.
Good point.
Yeah. And you see that even for the company that they have already privatized for many years ago, for example, Pinnacle, we can see that Pinnacle had a lot of potential to expand their business, but the management doesn't want to do that because they say that when they do, for example, they expand their business, the state SEAC, they don't want to improve to increase the capital because they don't have money, and the company cannot expand, and the SEAC, they don't want to lose the control in the company, so they cannot do the raising capital, and for the annual target, they don't want to include to do that much more better than they can because they say that every year 80% is acceptable to the CEO company for the SEAC. And if they do that 20% next year, they have to more pressure.
Right.
That 20%.
Because it's public.
Yeah. And
So post-IPO, the regulations change, there's reporting requirements, not much motivation to do it.
Yeah.
Efficiency after post-IPO.
Yeah.
Very good points. Very good points.
Anything else on your list?
One more thing that I see that the conflict between authority when they do the privatization, for example, some company that be the main company in the authority of that province, for example, Phú Yên, Pimefacco is one of the company main of that Phú Yên, and they don't want to change to move the company to the SEAC, or if they privatize, that company have to go to SEAC, so the local authority don't want to do that.
That's an interesting point. Municipality.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Another dynamic.
Yeah. So they don't want to go to one place. So
They lose the
control.
revenue from dividend from that company.
But can you comment on the performance of SCAC? Because we see the similar organization Temasek in Singapore or some others. So how many people question and also say that SCAC actually have been not performing very well. So how do you comment on that and why?
We see that the role of SEC in the company that they send some people stay there, and their minds very bureaucracy. bureaucratic
bureaucratic.
and they
Not open-minded, not market-based.
no, not market-based, and they because they had the pressure from the government that they cannot expand the business and they cannot increase the capital. We cannot see any company that raise the capital. You know that in the recent 10 years, most of the private company had to raise their capital 3 to 5 times, and nothing at all at the company that after post privatization. Yeah. And I see that they just concentrate on the reservation of the capital. That's yeah, they have some pressure on pushing the efficiency of the company. That's the only thing that I see that good thing in SAIC. And they ask to push for dividend payout a lot.
A lot of pressure on that for dividend.
Yeah, but dividend payout, I think that depends on the company. Sure. A lot of company we invest and we have complaint from the management because SEC asked to pay out at high ratio and they don't have money to reinvest. Why they don't want to increase the capital?
That's the pressure going public. That's true.
I think
and that's related to anything for attracting the international investor. So we may change the question a little bit, but we really want, because the government also want that not only local funds, but we need international investor to come. So what could we do in order to attract more international investor? Some solution we have talked about legal marketing,
minimize the legal, better marketing to them, communication,
and international advisor. But in a wider view, I think that for the Vietnam market, because one foreign investor want to step into Vietnam, they have to see that Vietnam have sizable market. They can easy go in, easy go out, and they can export at one of their portfolio, just not one deal, because so we have to see we have to raise the capital market to become larger. Push for the emerging market.
Yes.
Liquidity, information access, international center for the auditing, for the information.
International standards.
IFRS apply for the auditing beside the VAS only.
Right now, any problem with liquidity for the international investor that you can perceive currently?
Actually, we see that the daily liquidity of the marketing increased a lot. That this year, I think there are around 300 million compared to nearly double compared to 2 years ago. I think that it improved. But for we see the FII up to now, foreign investor hold around 27 billion US dollar in wholesale. But their holding in VN30, the large 30 company comprise about 75% of their holding. It means that they concentrate in the large cap only. I think that they're concerned about the liquidity.
For me, maybe final question for me, but how would you comment or see about the transparencies or the amount of the information of the company, the SOS company, provide to the investor or meet the demand of the investor? For example, you come to the roadshow, right, the meeting and get, or if you require, you're really interested on mobile phone or some other, like you say, but overall for other companies, is that sufficient? Or is that the timeline is okay? Sometimes you need more time to investigate, but let's say you from the time that you can get access to report until the time that IPO is only a month only. Or do you have any comment in that area?
I think that your suggestion is very good idea. That the struggle with this,
Mm.
with us,
Mm.
we very struggle with the information provided by the management and the company. Normally, it's very limited, and we have to, you know, that we have to make our self protection
Mm.
not related to that protection.
Mm.
And normally we ignore because we know that it's not true.
Mm.
So you get a prospectus, yeah?
Yeah,
And
we
then
get prospectus, and
everybody
they
gets a
have-
prospectus,
Yeah.
and the quality of prospectus is
Very poor.
very poor.
Yeah, very poor.
Problem of the company,
Yeah.
and maybe they're not getting good advice on how to build prospectus.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, better prospectus.
Timeline.
And timeline too.
And
to-
timeline.
to
Yeah,
the-
sure.
Too
Normally
short?
we have 3 weeks or 4 weeks before.
3 to 4 weeks
to
we just
evaluate.
know about
Before the IPO.
prospectus before the IPO, and we have to rush, and we have to do a lot of things. And sometimes I have to admit that we have to speculate.
Right, right.
Just
We have-
speculate, yeah.
Sure.
We have to speculate
Mm.
So-
our
Forecast,
decision.
yeah.
In addition to prospectus, what would help improve your understanding of the company as a good buy?
I think that they should open for due diligence.
Yeah.
Company open for due diligence?
Due diligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think companies would be open to that?
No.
That's always a problem, right?
We had to. I think that
The government
the government
has to open it up for
yeah.
more due diligence,
Yeah.
to get more information on something out,
Yeah.
either related to prospectus or outside.
Yeah.
We had an interesting conversation earlier about management structure in these SOEs. Sometimes the management structures are not in a certain place that you can evaluate. You know, everybody needs to sort of evaluate a management structure.
Mm.
Is that a criteria that's important? It's not only financials, but it's also how good is the management structure? Difficult to measure, yeah.
Difficult. We don't know about them, and normally we just use our network to understand who is the management and how capable he is. Besides, we had to talk directly with them to see that.
Get an idea
Yeah,
of what's
to get an
managed.
idea
Very
about
good,
them.
Mm.
But normally with the private sale company to go to privatization, we the limitation, the information is very limited.
Very limited.
Even we are local investor, lost and
Very tough to do
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent point.
And I think that to foreign investor, it's impossible with them.
Right, of course, of
Mhm.
course.
Yeah.
My final question to you, I don't know if Dr. Trump has any more final questions. If you were to sit in front of the government, Prime Minister, and say these are the top 3 things
That you
to
need
improve
Yeah.
the SOE privatization process, what would you say?
I think
Maybe
the
top 3 priorities.
The first thing is that you have to appoint the department or big person in charge.
Centralize it.
Centralize and in charge everything that they have responsibility and we work
Accountability.
on that.
Okay, excellent. Number 1, excellent point, yeah.
The
Anything
second
else?
thing that you have to make the legal and legal process to be clear, that facilitate the process. And third thing that you have to open and think about using international advisor to make the process of selling the government asset, the country asset to the best practice, and so that
Including
we can-
international standards as
Yeah.
well, looking at international standards.
Yeah,
To open up that market a little bit better.
yeah.
Okay. Top 3, yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent, excellent.
Actually, everything that at three point that 3 point is not centralized in 1 point only. That what do you want to do with the SOE privatization? What is the ultimate goal?
Mm-hmm.
And please connect to that goal to implement.
So the
Valuation
yeah.
or go to the privatize the economy to promote the economy.
Efficiencies or or
money,
evaluation,
asset valuation.
or
Yeah.
what else.
So the
that's
government
go
needs
back
to be clearer
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
its
about
goal
it.
and strategy, and it's not being clear. What they are clear about is how many they want to privatize. But behind that, what's their strategy? Why are they doing what they're doing? And it's unclear. Excellent.
Right.
Well, those are all the questions I have.
Yeah.
No, you're done. This has been very helpful. At the end of the project, we're going to submit and prepare a presentation for the Prime Minister's office at the end of May.
Yeah.
That's our goal. And we hope to be able to put together some report for participants like yourself, so you can look at the recommendation.
Hope that can help and
Sure.
make some change to the SOE privatization.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And it's been very helpful. So
Thank you.
I want to thank you very much.
Thank you,
You're
Jihan,
welcome.
once again. And I hope that this is when you have time to visit RMIT and
Yes.
give a guest lecture there for half an hour or an hour with the students. They will love to see.
I'd love to see you. Yeah.
Young and talented lady in charge of
Very
the
smart.
yeah, very smart, be fun like this. So thank you once again, Jihan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really
Yeah.
appreciate your time.